Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Shonky Lab, the first episode of 2018. I thought I'd get in here quickly because it all seems to be kicking off very, very soon. Yeah. This week, I am joined by Lee.
Hello.
And Lee.
Hello.
And everyone seems to be angry for some reason. For many reasons, actually. And if you were in the Mixler chat room when this was recorded live, you'd have known why. It's now taken us 25 minutes to go live. Jeez. But it's sounding glorious. So yes. That's a plus thing, at least.
Yes.
So how are you guys? You all right?
I want to literally fuck punch something fucking fluffy to the ground.
I didn't want you too happy before you came on. Can't have you too happy, otherwise, that defeats the object, surely.
Well, obviously.
I had a nap before coming on, so I'm good. I'm all happy, thanks.
Nice.
Good stuff. Okay, so we're here to talk about swearing, and I know.
Oh, hang on. Before we get onto this, can I try something?
Okay.
Yeah. God.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Are you going to turn the camera on? Because I don't want to see that.
Hang on. Alexa, play Agadoo.
You see, I've got my fucking headphones on. It can't hear it, so stick it up your ass.
Right, okay, we are now officially the last podcast to try that now. Gee, everyone and his biscuit has been trying to do that, haven't they?
Yeah.
It works, though. That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, luckily the Alexa that's in our room, at my room at the moment, is actually switched off, so that's the end of that.
But I spent 2 days over my parents' house, and I'd say at least 2 of them hours with my dad just saying, Alexa, tell us a joke. Honestly, I don't want a bloody Alexa joke anymore.
Did it keep telling the same one?
Yeah.
No, it's just a one-way joke, isn't it? And so it'll tell you the setup and the punchline. It's like, I kind of want to be involved in the joke, not just spoken at.
That's not how the future's going to work. You're not going to be involved in anything.
Yeah. A horse goes into the bar, and the barman says, "Why the long face?"
It's all in the delivery, Lee.
That's
timing.
Oh,
dear. Anyway,
right.
You said.
So we're doing swearing today, and Lee Harvey had the bright idea of maybe trying to go through this episode without actually swearing.
Right.
I don't think it can be done.
I don't think it can.
Well, I certainly don't think Lee can do it.
No.
It's not going to happen, is it?
What kind of mad fuckwittery is that? I mean, it's just like you're turning around and saying, I'm going to talk about swearing, so let's not fucking talk about swearing. I know, let's talk about sheep. Okay, right, fine, but you can't use the word sheep, wool, farms, lanolin, ram, ewe, or any kind of farmyard animal reference whatsoever. Ha ha ha, that's going to be interesting. No, it's not. It's going to be us talking about fucking wallpaper.
Well, funny enough, the next episode
is about wallpaper.
Okay, so swearing. We are going to use swears. So if you have little kids listening,
we have already used swears.
Yes, we have used swears. But I'm guessing that swearing will feature quite heavily during this episode, and I'm hoping I might learn a few words as well. Because sometimes the strongest one isn't strong enough for me. But we'll get on to that later on. I'm sure we will. So just do a bit of house cleaning. When we record these, we record them live on Mixler, which is mixler.com/RogueTwoMedia. And you can join in the chat room. We do have a chat room running along at the moment. Apologies to anyone listening to it at the moment if it is stifling or if it's crackling a little bit. That might be down to my internet. It might not be, but it probably would be.
But it's free.
But you can normally join us along there. We also have a Facebook group, and that tells you whenever we're recording, and we're going to be going live soon. So there we go. We are here. We are ready to record. So
yeah,
I will stick. Should I stick 45 minutes, or do you want an hour on this one?
I think an hour. I think we can do
an hour.
I feel confident. I feel like an Olympic marathon runner. I think we could do an hour easily.
Okay, right. We're doing an hour. We're bending the rules ever so slightly. Do you know why? Because we can.
Yeah.
And because I'm allowed to.
Yeah, because fuck you, that's why.
What can I hear? I can hear something. Oh, there's someone upstairs.
Is there?
Can you hit? No, I'm not going to answer that. Right, I'm going to stick an hour on, and we're going to start talking about swearing. So, hang on. Right, we're going. We are now talking about swearing. So,
where's the siren?
That's at the end.
Oh, right. Okay, fine.
Yeah, I haven't worked out all the... I was trying to sort out another... Oh, right, okay, right. I'm going to stop this. Because then I'm just talking about crap that isn't swearing. I was trying to sort out an alarm for a correct alarm, but it just wouldn't let me do it. Anyway, so it wasn't even worth stopping it for. So I'm starting it again. So, right. Swearing.
Yes.
First off...
Cunt.
Good night,
well
everyone. Set the clock at 1 minute and we're off.
Yeah. Wow, we've got straight to DEFCON 5 already.
As all three of us are from South East London, that's a normal, standard, everyday word. But for some reason, the rest of the world seems to think it's something horrendous.
That's because they're right. just because we all agree. Yeah.
That's because they don't live near Plumstead.
Yeah, well, exactly. But, you know, just because we all agree doesn't mean to say that the rest of the world is wrong. And Lucky Minty on the chat room has just said, "Can you lot just get fucking get on with it?" Well, yes, we fucking will. Right.
Yeah, we're trying to. Okay, well, I want to start at the very beginning then.
Okay.
Because as far as I'm aware, families have their own little set priorities in swearing.
Yeah. And
some families allow little swears. Other families allow massive swears, and mafia families are just like, yeah, you say every single word, and to your mother as well. And I'm just wondering if you guys had any leniency in that sort of thing.
What do you mean, as kids?
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll give you a for instance. We had families around us that prat and bloody weren't swear words. But in my house, they're both swear words.
Yeah.
Prat, really?
Well, there you go.
Why is prat a swear word in your house?
Because it's a swear word. I was always brought up for it being a swear word.
Okay.
No, I've never heard anyone even think it's that bad, to be honest.
I mean, I know why it's a swear word, why some people regard it as a swear word, because it's like a light version of the C-bomb. Basically,
yes.
I'm easing everyone into it, because I could just come out with a C-bomb and everyone's just going, yeah, there you go, we can all go home now. Don't need to listen anymore. But so as far as it goes, the prat, twat, they're the same thing, and it's just how basically it always comes down to the mum. What mum will accept, because. With me, I mean, my dad swore like a trooper, and he worked with people who swore like troopers. And then my uncle, who was, I think I've mentioned before, used to be part of the CID, used to turn up after stakeouts with like these big burly blokes all talking, effing and jeffing and what have you. I'm taking it really easy with the effing and jeffing for some reason. Why was I saying that? But
because we're talking about swear words.
Yeah, and then basically, because they were all swearing, and like I was surrounded by it all the time, and so the early stuff like bloody and flipping and brat and that Wally and all these kind of things, which are some kids can be all a bit woo. That was really early doors. That was like no one gave a shit. But I mean, I was surrounded by it. I mean, mum still gets a bit funny about swearing. But Dad doesn't bat an eyelid when there's like all of us sitting around going, "Oh, for fuck's sake," you know, but Mum sort of after about 5 minutes, you know, even with the kids, you know, the kids are sort of floating about and the kids know not to swear, which I think I stand up like a sort of inoculation. So I swear and they know not to swear because anything Daddy says shouldn't be said outside of the house. And then because Granddad does it as well, and then because Uncle Spence does it, and then, you know, great Uncle Steve, who's my dad's brother, you know, comes in and it's like, you know, and everyone's like, for fuck's sake, cunt, you fucking shit, fucking tit-faced bastard, arse wanging cunt, all that sort of stuff. You know, all with the kids around, they all know not to say any of this stuff, but it makes them laugh. But then after a while, Mum, who's been very, very quiet about the whole lot, just goes, "I do wish you'd stop fucking swearing." There'll be just a saturation level. It would just be there. But as far as, you know, was there a sort of limit to where we could go? I mean, I think everything up to the word fuck was fair game as long as we didn't over abuse it when I was younger.
Yeah.
Once I dropped the first F-bomb in front of Mum and Dad, that was it. The doors came off, and then that was it. It was just like, well, okay, fine. Our son is a man now.
Yeah, well, I do want to get onto the firsts. That would be good to dive into, I think.
Yeah.
Mr. Harvey, what about yourself? Was there any words off limit?
I remember when I was very little being told off a lot. Well, not a lot, but for swearing. But then when I was a teenager, I was kind of left alone a lot, so I didn't really have. As far as I know, swearing's always been there, especially going to watch football from an 8-year-old upwards, where you're just constantly surrounded by thousands of people, particularly at Millwall, swearing constantly.
Bloody hell, you had no hope then, did you?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a club that comes from a Dockers background.
Well, funny you should mention that because my aunt, Brenda, sits down with the managers down on Millwall and has been there every Saturday that they're at home since about 1960-something.
Yeah, and it's just normal. It's just what everyone does. And my dad as well, he was a policeman down that way, so and a northerner. So I imagine I picked up quite a lot. But yeah, I don't remember it being like a massive issue. My mum still doesn't really like swearing, but I remember she posted something up on Facebook about me and my sister, so I wish my children used such better language or something, and was immediately responded with lots of effing and jeffing from both of us. So I think it's a losing battle.
Yeah,
that parents fight. It's all about context, really, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the important thing. I mean, you obviously had some problems, Elton, when you were younger, getting into trouble.
Yeah, because I'm so posh.
That's why you had to move out to that's why you had to move to the home counties, wasn't it? That's
right. Yeah, the butlers used to fight instead of the kids. We used to use them as our surrogate fighting machine. And butler fights in the yards were just a thing of the past, really. No, I think with swearing, it was never really rife in my family at all. My mum didn't. I think she did under her breath. My dad didn't, but I know he did at work. But I think he left that at work, and he did very well to leave it at work, because I remember the first time I said fucking in front of my dad, and we were walking over a field on holiday, and I was doing the age-old game, the child game. I was probably maybe 10, I think, and we were doing the words that rhyme with duck.
Nice.
And I can't remember how many words we got into it until I went, fuck. And the speed in which my dad span round on his heels and stopped the whole family and looked down at me, loomed over me, and went, where did you hear that word?
It was you, Dad.
Well, that was the thing. I didn't know what to say. And I looked up at him and went, you? And I know full well that it wasn't from him. It was from school at some point.
Yeah.
He went, no, it wasn't. It was definitely not me. And he went, maybe it was from your mother. I must have caused an argument that night.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was quite shocking. And then I think from that point on, it was a case of, if you don't need to, then you don't. And even when we go around and visit them, we don't. It's just, I think it's one of them things when you're in front of your when I'm in front of my parents, I don't. But then again, I'm terrible when I'm at home. I've got a lot of it from work. I thought, I swore as much as everyone else did at school, but then I got bored of it and just didn't. And when I only really got back into my swearing game when I got back into work. And frankly, when I started work, I was a little shocked on how creative everyone was with their swearing. And it took me about a month to catch on. And then from then on, it was just potty mouth McManus from then. Yeah, it's been, I would love not to.
Really?
I would. I would love not to. It's one of my things I really despise about myself sometimes.
Is that just because like I say, personally, it doesn't bother me at all. It's just normal language. I'm not asked about anyone else swearing. I'm not bothered about using swear words myself. But then I was never put into that cauldron of being told off for it.
Yeah. If I swore in front of my parents now, I wouldn't get told off. But I'd feel a bit, okay, I've said that word and you haven't told me off of it, but you've let me say it. Okay. That's weird. And I'm still well aware that I'm in front of my parents if I do swear. And sometimes the worst one is when something slips out by accident and you look at them and you go, oh, no, I didn't get told. I'm an adult. Fucking hell, I'm 40 years old, crying out loud. I'm allowed to swear. I'm going to say whatever I want. Fuck shit, cunt, tit, bollocks.
I mean, the thing is with that sort of thing, it's always about sort of like using it properly. It's all about context. I mean, when you can just, you see all these people sort of thinking they're clever on social media and all sorts of things, going cock womble and just putting a word out there. And it's like, well, that's good for a thumbs up and ha ha ha. Yeah. But it's when you can actually feed it into a sort of like a sentence and all this kind of stuff, and it makes everyone laugh then. And that's when it's sort of acceptable, when everyone's on the same kind of page and you can kind of do it. I mean, it's like when we watch, this is going to sound terrible, but when I go round on the Saturday night to my parents and drop the kids are kind of with mum and they're making cakes and doing crafts and all this kind of stuff. And there's me and Dad, and we're just sitting in the other room watching telly because Dad communicates via the method of commenting on TV now. That's his, something's on telly. We're communicating about that to each other. And basically, as soon as a talent show comes on, like The Voice or Strictly Come Dancing or Dancing on Ice or whatever, it becomes a race for the two of us to basically swear creatively enough about the person on screen and make the other one laugh. And that is essentially.
But are you laughing at the way that you can use the swear words, or are there other jokes involved with it as well?
No, pretty much. It starts, it starts off with the basics, sort of like, oh God, look at that cunt. What's he look like? And then it kind of works up from there. He looks like someone stuffed 2 pounds of shit into a £1 bag. And you
I was going to say, is there like a sort of anticipation part of it? Because I was already laughing before you finished the first sentence because I knew what was coming.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's about the delivery.
Yeah, and it is that thing, and then you kind of, it starts to roll. And then when, you see someone sort of like they're dancing their heart out with a nice little smile on their face, and it's like, look at that cunt. It just becomes, then it's acceptable, but you can't just go into the middle of the room with all the kids about and go, cunt. It's funny to say as a sort of one-off, but you know, when you see it on like social media, people just making up a word by taking a swear word and a random word like twat, hammock, and all this kind of thing, and it's just like, well, that's funny for a bit, but it's not as funny as when you've actually got something to point at, and everyone's on board, and everyone's kind of in context, if you know what I mean.
Exactly. I find a lot of things on Twitter, you'll see somebody say something that's actually quite funny, but they'll stick fucking or fuck or something somewhere in the sentence, and you're like, you've made it less good because that is totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because people think that is going to accentuate it and make it funnier, and it's just not. It's just not very clever.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You know,
whereas Malcolm Tucker can say an entire sentence that is made of swear words, and it's very, very funny.
See now there is my spirit animal. Right there.
Well, there's the use of swearing, and sometimes it is funnier not to swear, and then other times it is funnier to swear, and that is the art that I would like to master of when to drop it, when not to drop it, when to hold it back a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of comedy to be had with swearing and the way that you use it. And if you use it incorrectly, it can be an eye-rolling moment compared to a belly-laughing moment.
Yeah. I think Lee listens to the Bugle podcast.
Oh, I certainly do.
And they... some words, not all, but some swear words are still bleeped.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot funnier than if they were to actually say it. A lot funnier when the word is bleeped. Yeah,
especially when it gets into a situation. I mean, when someone bleeps anything, I mean, it's like when they keep bleeping it. It's even funny because then it sort of gets into a point of sort of like, you bleep, 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 bleep with a bleep, 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 and I bleep, 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 bleep. You absolute bleep, 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 completely beep, beep, beep. If you bleep, 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 you complete bleep. And it's like, that's brilliant. But if you heard all the swear words in it, it probably wouldn't work as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Martin Thompson in the chat room says, here's a question. Is the swearing funnier or the bleep? And yeah, I suppose if you hear the word, it's like horror movies when you don't see the monster. You're creating something only unique to yourself in your head. And that swear word, when you hear bleeps and lots of bleeps, your mind is filtering and it's running through files and files of all these swear words that you could be putting together, and you can't think of them as quickly as you can actually write them down. And yeah, I suppose that's maybe why the bleep is funnier sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think the thing with the bleeping is it leaves it open to your imagination what's actually being said there, and sometimes it's actually worse in your head. And you know, and the bleep itself is making you laugh because you're just kind of going, "Oh my god, this is funnier." And yeah, I mean, you know, some of the funniest gags are just bleep 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 all the time. Like when I remember being in fits when you used to watch those old Dennis Norden things with, like, you know, It'll Be All Right on the Night, and you get like a something going wrong, and then someone's going, "Oh, bleep, bleep." It's just like it's constantly going bleep, and you're thinking, oh my god, that's Michael Aspel, and he's saying really rude words. That's really funny, but you don't know what words he's saying, and that makes it even funnier.
It's like the Beatles about as well, wasn't it? That would get quite amusing with the bleep machine.
Yeah. Because it does. It becomes that whole thing of you don't know what they're saying, but you know that there's something so rude, but you've come up with a word that's even better in your head. But you know, but then there's nothing wrong with swearing either. I think if swearing's done right, you know, it can really, really. It's like the spice in a sauce. Just get it right, and it'll be brilliant. And
I think the first time I ever swore properly in front of parents and things was probably when I was really angry or upset about something. And that I remember being let off that, really.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other time when, apart from humour, when swearing comes out.
Yes.
Is if you are angry about something.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's like what Andy's just said on the chat. It's like, it's not the word, it's the intent behind it. And that's very, very true. I mean, especially with something like,
stubbing your toe.
Stubbing your toe or stepping on some Lego. I mean, that was the funniest. That was the first time I swore in front of the kids. Because they'd left all this Lego all over the floor, and I'd come downstairs and I was hungover, and there was all this Lego, and I stepped on it. And Carol had always been like, you got to kind of rein it in with the kids, got to be good around them. And I'm like, okay, fine. And then I came downstairs with this sore head, and my mouth feels like a parrot's cage, and then I stepped on this Lego that had been strewn across the floor, open for, and I went, oh, fuck! As loud as I possibly could.
And then the camera zoomed out to a long shot of the house, and birds fly off.
Fuck. Someone in the ISS going, did you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, it sort of bubbled up, and that was it. It was just, oh man, I couldn't hold it in for that one.
And since then, your kids have been swearing like dockers.
Well, they do to me, but when they don't. But they do when they know they can get away with it, because they know, like for example, Lisa, my youngest, she knows all the swear words, but she knows how to use it. So she doesn't use it in school. She doesn't use it in front of her friends, where some of her friends will grass her up and all this kind of stuff. But like for example, she had a real bad day at school a couple of weeks back, and someone was being sort of like rude about someone else, and it got into one of those kind of back and forth things. Anyway, and I heard about it, and I said, oh yeah, I sent her a WhatsApp message because I was at work, and I said, oh, are you having a bad day? And she sent back, yeah, hold on, I'll see if I can find it on the chat, because this is coming from a 10-year-old, and she was really having a bad day. Come on, fire up. Okay, so I said, okay, so, it was, are you having a bad day? Is it really okay? And she's going, oh yeah, Sky is saying this and Sky is saying that and stirring things up. And I said, and I'm trying to be the polite dad. So I said, yeah, well, Sky can keep out of it and stick her head up her bum. Right. And I thought that was about as rude as I could get. The reply comes back. She goes, she can keep her fucking pointy nose out of her own fucking beeswax. I don't care. She can fuck off. And I've got that, and I'm like, hey, my love, I'm just going home.
Yes, give in to your hate.
Yes. Excellent. Yeah, so it was just really funny, just because it was like, it clearly, whatever was going on was really pushing her buttons, and she'd been holding it back all day, and it was just like, I just gave her the moment by saying she can stick her head up her bum, and it's like, no, you fucking stick her nose up her fucking arse. It's like,
okay, so she's 10 then, yeah?
Yes.
So she's in the last year of...
Yeah, she's in year 6 now.
Okay, year 6. So next year she'll be going up to secondary school.
Yes.
So when we were kids, did we know all the swear words before we went up to secondary school?
Oh, yeah.
Almost certainly.
Well, I mean...
Oh, no, maybe not.
I didn't. I clearly remember not knowing what a wanker was.
No, I think I'd know. No, oh, yeah, maybe.
No, I remember seeing that. It was written where my mum and dad lived. There's a little park down the road called the Green, and there used to be a set of toilets there, and on the outside was "Daniel is a wanker" written on there, and I didn't know what a wanker was. And so
Did you go home, go back in, so your mum's there, it says, hi Elton, hi wanker.
No, I didn't do that, but it was a case of when you're learning how to swear, okay, my mate's learning how to swear, and they know it's bad, but they don't want to get grassed up by anyone else. And we wouldn't have grassed them up, but there was that hint of maybe we might get grassed up. Oh, he was swearing, and just to get back at someone. And so you didn't want to say it. We was in that case of learning the words but not using the words, and not knowing what context to use the words. And so Daniel is a wanker written on this wall, and my friends asked me to say that, and I went, say what? I was like, no, up there, just say that Daniel is, and I asked it, so Daniel is a wanker. Oh, you swore. I went, really? Well, if I don't know what it is, then how do I know what I've said? And okay, so now I've sworn. Now I need to know what a wanker is. And nobody knew.
We going into the library, getting the Britannicas off the shelf.
Yeah. What are you doing, Elton? I'm just looking up the word
wanker. Yeah, I mean, I knew pretty much every swear word probably by the age of about 10 myself, because I distinctly remember one of my first proper sort of sweary comedies that I watched was Life of Brian, which has absolutely every swear word you can imagine, including the bit when Brian comes back to the Judean People's Front, brings all the Romans behind him. They go in and they find the spoon and then they leave, yeah? And then
we found the spoon, sir.
Found the spoon, sir, yeah? And,
well done, Sergeant.
But the thing is that scene actually ends with Brian kind of going, sorry, Reg. And then Reg stands up, which is John Cleese, and he goes, oh, he's sorry, brothers. He's sorry. Oh, there you go. It's okay. Sit down. Put your feet up. Have a skull. You cunt. You stupid, flathead bird brain fucking. And then it just goes, and you're at the door again. So straight away, that had me in absolute tears, because I'd never heard that word. That was the C-bomb had just dropped. And
see, I didn't know that. I think this might have been a TV edit, because it was on Channel 4, and I think they edited it to Klutz.
No, it's not Klutz. It's you cunt. Very, very clearly. Very clearly.
Okay, well then that was a Channel 4 edit then.
Yeah, because, and the whole thing with, are you the Judean People's Front? Fuck off. We're the People's Front of Judea. Judean People's Front. Wankers. And it's just, as soon as you're into that, I mean, I tell you what, the thing more confusing for me with something like Life of Brian was the first time I watched it, and they were talking about it's every man's right to have babies, and he goes, where's the fetus gonna gestate? You're gonna keep it in a box. And I didn't know anything about sex education, so I'm sitting there laughing and don't know what a fetus is. What a womb
You're just like, that's a swear word. I'm gonna laugh lots.
Exactly. I'm sure that's gonna make me laugh. It's like, where's the fetus gonna gestate? You're gonna keep it in a box? I mean, it sounded funny because of the way it was said, and by that point, John Cleese had already clearly, shown himself to be, when he gets loud, he's obviously swearing. And then that whole thing of, all right, I am the Messiah. He is the Messiah. Now, fuck off. And how shall we fuck off, oh Lord? So it was just a masterclass of swearing. Exactly. Jack Woodgate's just said, oh, how shall we fuck off, oh Lord? So, and that to me, that was the one that just, that was it. It was like pulling the ring pull on the Coke can. It was just like, there you go. Here's all the swear words, and here's some other words you don't understand, but they sound quite funny. So you're going to be wandering around there and doing.
Here's your stockpile.
Yeah, here's your stockpile. Yeah, so my stockpile was quite well stocked up from the start.
Did either of you ever get caught swearing at school? By teachers?
No, I don't think I did. I had one where I hissed under my breath at someone that they were a complete shit, but that was about it. And the teacher obviously heard something but didn't know who said it. And turned, and then it was just like 5 people all standing there looking at him innocently. Just kind of gives it the old side eye and then just carries on walking. But no, my real swearing didn't really kick off until I got my first job and I was working in a lab above a warehouse, which I've mentioned many times before on this cast. But the warehousemen, they were proper dockers, and that was it. Every word under the sun, plus creative combinations of three or four words. It's just like, yeah, I was like, you went to university that day for swearing, and I never came back.
So with where you're learning that and you go to work, is it creative in the way that you find stimulating now, that you find it amusing now, or is it just guys swearing for swearing's sake because they want to stick words into a sentence and pad it out a little bit? Because when I started work, it was just people effing and jeffing because that filled up the sentence a little better.
Yeah, I think that was it. It was that was it for me as well. It was like that sort of moment of kind of like, there's no one saying anything. And
fucking Davies, he's always taking the fucking piss, isn't he? He's a fucking idiot. That's shit. That type of thing. It's not creative. It's not. There's no wordsmiths there.
No. It was literally just, if there was some silence, it'd be like, fucking hell. Or, I mean, it's a bit like you've seen that famous scene from The Wire, where the two detectives are looking at a crime scene. And they're just
probably have. I can't remember though.
Well, it's basically they're going round and they're literally just all they're going is going, what the fuck? Fucking hell, motherfucker, fuck.
But is that just a kind of emphasis thing rather than it being sort of creative in a comedic way?
Yeah, well, it does become
just trying to make it more to say, like, you know, you were using that example of if there's silence, someone's just going fucking hell. If you just sat there and said, I'm bored.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't even notice that you've said that half the time. But if you go, fucking hell, then people hear what you know, they notice.
Yeah. Well, it's
more an emphasis thing.
That's it. It's putting emphasis on silence almost. It's just literally someone just going, fuck.
Yeah, but I just mean, like, generally, in like the example that Elton said about, you can say, oh, he's fucking this, he's fucking that. It's if you don't have the words to try and get across what you're feeling, by using swearing, you can emphasize that it's more than just someone's annoying, they're really annoying.
Well, it wasn't like that though. At Copeland's, that's the place I was at. I mean, they literally were it was just even people that they liked. They would just be, oh, you see that fucking Jeff? He's fucking great, isn't he? He's fucking brilliant. Look at the fucking arms on that as he's trying to move that fucking drum. Look at him. Look at the fucking, yeah, it's just like every second word. You know, like, when you see teenage girls in these American sitcoms where they're like totally, and every second word is like or literally, then imagine just replacing those words with fuck. And that's what it was like. It was essentially every second word was fuck, you fucker, what fucking hell, oh fuck, let's fucking move this, fuck, come on in, let's get fucking moving. And
see, I'm not impressed with that. That's the thing that really winds me up. I've worked with people like that, and I've worked with people younger than me that swear like that, and they don't take into account the situation that they're in at that moment. They just, because they talk to their mates like that and their girlfriends and their family like that, they just talk to their workmates like that. And when you're in an old people's home and they're playing bingo next door and you're effing and jeffing like that, and it's like, oh, he's a fucking wanker and blah, 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 and he's always fucking screwing me over. It doesn't go down as well as when you're with your mates in a pub. And that's when it becomes cringy and you just, okay, right, there's a time and place for this.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's that whole, as I was saying before, it's that whole thing of using it like a spice in a sauce. You sprinkle it in there and you use it wisely. If you're doing it all the time, then it becomes meaningless. It becomes just a word.
Yeah.
But when you do, I mean, like I say, if we go back to Charlotte, like a Malcolm Tucker sort of thing, where it goes, I've never seen anybody look so fucking ugly with just one head. That's great, because the fucking ugly, and then it's just the spice on top of the thing that he looks ugly, and you're putting the head bit on there, and he's explaining a joke, but it makes. But you know what I mean? It's that whole thing of you're just putting an emphasis on something that's already funny.
Yeah.
But at the tail end of that as well, if I'm around my parents' house and I deliberately make my mum jump, and a swear word slips out by accident, that is the funniest swear word ever. Because it's escaped, and it was like, oh, I can't catch it in midair. Damn, if I could grab it, I would. But I'll make a jump either on purpose or by accident, and she'll be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And that'll be brilliant, and that'll be just as entertaining as someone coursing around a word of swears and beautifully illustrating it, and it's just as good.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like my nan. She used to put on airs and graces and lots of, but she was proper East End.
Yeah,
she would put on like, Mrs. Bouquet sort of, would you like to come and sit down and have a cup of tea and all this kind of thing. But then it'll get to a point in the day where sort of everyone's talking, and then all of a sudden we start taking the mickey out of each other, and then all of a sudden it'll be like, Nan's facade would come down. And she just sort of like do the old Les Dawson old lady thing, and she sort of like lift her boobs up under her arms in a sort of crossed arms thing. She go, oh, bollocks to you, fuck off. And you're just like, Nan swore. Oh my word. But she's, what made that funny was when she's doing it, like her false teeth would come loose. Because she put some real venom behind it, so she'd be like, oh, fuck off, and you'll be like, the teeth will be rattling around in her lips and all sort of stuff.
See, that's another thing that helps it as well, the venom behind it.
Yeah.
But that's an anger thing, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, that's the Samuel L. Jackson thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you can put some real emotion behind it to just really punctuate it, then I swear, even a sort of low level one, you absolute twat. Just that could be more powerful than dropping a C-bomb. It's that sort of real. If you just take a run up with it, like a bat, you're coming at him. It's like, you absolute shit guzzling cum monkey. Bang. It's just like, you're really putting the emphasis into it, then that will work a lot better than just going, oh, cunt, and just wandering off.
So when was the last time either of you were shocked with language?
Pass.
Yeah.
I don't remember ever being shocked.
No?
About language. It, like I say, it might just be because of being immersed in that football crowd environment from being quite young, and are particularly famous for being scumbags as well.
Yeah.
And that it's never shocked me at all, which may be why I use it all the time.
I think,
without worrying.
Yeah, I don't think I've been shocked by any swearing. Well, apart from Lisa's WhatsApp, and it was, but you could see she was kind of quite cross about that. But I think the last time I was properly sort of thrown for a loop is when it makes me laugh so hard that I'm literally sort of crying tears into the desk, and the closest I got to any of that sort of stuff was sort of with Charlie Brooker and TV Go Home. I don't know if
it's very funny.
Which I don't know if you've ever read that, but it's like he used to do when he first got started. He made these kind of mock sort of like TV Times kind of guides, and essentially, it's he would write these things, and that's when he came up with Nathan Barley called cunt. But it's like, but he he'd come up with things like when he starts sort of letting fly, and it was kind of in this lovely sort of like Radio Times format. It was just so funny and so pithy and so quick. Yeah, I was just literally blowing snot out and laughing so hard. And that's the only time that it's not shocked me, but that's the last time I think it really hit home. Between that and the thick of it, which is just a masterpiece.
Yeah, I think even if the Queen was on TV and accidentally swore, I still don't think it would shock me. It would just make me laugh.
Yeah. I mean,
I'd be very disappointed.
You would?
Yeah, I would sit there in my wingback chair and go, oh dear.
What has happened to the country?
Yeah. I'd put my china down.
Yeah. Shaking.
Oh dear.
Tut tut. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like, when you see something like, when we used to do the feedback on Black Dog, it's when you suddenly get someone, really go off on one. That's when it really works. I mean, but when you see something like like Donald Trump saying that places are shitholes, it's like.
But that's not the shocking thing about that. Is not the swearing.
Yeah.
It's more that in that example that the president of America can
dismiss stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly, and that's the thing. I think that's probably actually thinking about it, it's probably the last time it actually shocked me. Not because it was actually a shocking word, but because of exactly what you said. You sit there going, "Really?"
You're allowed to think these things, but you're not allowed to record them and broadcast them anywhere.
Well, maybe, but if you're in like one of the senior diplomatic seats of the entire planet, you probably want to watch your P's and Q's.
Yeah, this is diplomacy, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not the best thing to do to come out and call many countries in the world shitholes.
Yeah, because not only are you insulting these people, not only are you showing yourself to be a small-minded fucking racist dickweed, but you're also potentially instigating a massive world war. It's that moment of sort of words hurt.
Weaponized Twitter. Yeah,
exactly. Twatter. I mean, that's the thing. It really is. It is twatter. Every time he clearly gets up, goes for a shit at 5 a.m, and sits down and then just talks a load of old bollocks. And and like I say, he may say a word that doesn't bother you if anyone else said it, but the fact that he said it is probably the bit where you go, okay.
Yeah, because it comes back to the context, doesn't it, about using swear words and bad words generally and things like that. It's because he is the president of America.
Yeah, and
that is the thing that was making it shocking and bad.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's that whole thing of you literally are about to do something horrible by insulting like 50% of the planet.
Yeah,
it's bad enough when you call someone a pillock or a fuckwit under your breath when you're in a pub because they bumped you, and they might have heard you and you might get into a fight. And it's like, that's one thing. But doing that on a global scale, billions of people is completely...
There's not many people that can do that either, are there?
No, and exactly. No. And that's when swearing becomes a different kettle of fish, because it's not the swear so much as it's almost like the reason it's being said. It suddenly becomes the reason behind the swear. And you sort of sit there going, well, if he thinks that, then it means that he's thinking this, which means he thinks this of a country, which means it's not the word as much as the implication behind it. And you go, oh my God.
Or even the sort of lack of respect to be able to use that word instead of not using it. Shows that you've got no respect for the other countries.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess, the answer to your question is the last time I was shocked about the use of a swear word was actually probably last week.
It was last week, yeah.
I'm sure there's more to come from that idiot anyway.
I was thinking one place where there was probably a lot of swearing. Now, I don't drive, but I know both of you do.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Any examples of creative swearing whilst on the road?
Many. I mean, do you want to go first, Elton, or do you want me to take this?
No, you warm it up. Because I'm trying to rack my brain because I think driving is where I need stronger words.
No, I mean,
that's where you come into contact with other people the most.
Okay, yeah, all right then. Well, I'll go first because I can't remember exactly what I say, but when I do come into contact with the general public, it's a place where you come into contact with the general public without them ever knowing what you will say or think about them.
No, that's pointless. No, you have to say words which are very easy.
No, but you wouldn't, what I mean is if you were walking down the street and someone bumped into you, you wouldn't go on a tirade of swear words and abuse against them. But when you're in your car, you can do that.
But, sometimes I do. I mean, I don't want to get derailing off the car thing because I think that's a good one to do, but it's just like, I've had that on the tube a few times where you're standing there and you try to be polite and then the swear word has to come out to stop being polite because polite doesn't work anymore. And when you're on the Piccadilly line on rush hour and you get like a dozen sort of people standing in front of the door of the tube, and the tube's completely empty, and there's people trying to get on while you're trying to get off, and people who are standing in front of the door on the tube. So you go, excuse me, and eventually it gets to the point where they are just talking, and you go, can you get out of the fucking way? And then as soon as you say that, it's like someone stabbed them in the spine. They literally go, bink, oh! And that's, I mean, I don't do it all the time, but the thing is, that is definitely one of those moments of like, that's when swearing has to be used like a little cattle prod. It's like, can you get out the fucking way? Because I
think that's fine as long as you've been polite in the previous attempts.
Yeah.
Then going full on swear modes, then that's fine.
Yeah. But it's the only thing I don't like about that is it's not elegant swearing. It is literally just saying it just to kind of literally jab them in the ribs to get them the fuck out the way.
But then but you need that to emphasize it.
Yeah.
It's coarse, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It goes back to what you were saying earlier. It's like that whole thing of just throwing it out without real, elegance, without sort of you're using it like a blunt instrument. You're just bludgeoning people with just swear words.
Just shivved someone in the side with shit head.
Some of the times it is, yeah. Well, you don't make it personal because there's two types of swear words. There's the ones that emphasize your frustration, and then there's ones which you actually are aiming at someone. It's like, you cunt.
Yeah.
It's different.
But
get out
that's what I mean about driving. Because if I'm cycling along and somebody just doesn't wait and will just squeeze past me, I instinctively go, all right, dickhead, give me some space. But obviously they won't hear that. Now, if that was happening when I was walking somewhere, I wouldn't do that because I'd get punched in the mouth. And I don't want that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. You got to kind of avoid insulting someone directly to their face if you can just, I don't know, say something else which kind of lets them know you're frustrated, but without making it personal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like being cut up in a car and you spout a torrid abuse at the person who's just cut you up.
Mm.
And then next minute, instead of being behind them and swearing at them, you pull up next to them and then they're looking at you and you're like, yes, I'm glad I'm in a metal box.
Did you do the gesticulating as well?
I have done. I've also I've had phone calls from the general public because.
Oh, have you got that? How's my driving?
No, I haven't got that.
No. That's a shame.
No, but there was a point where someone cut me up, and the next junction they tried to jump in front of me again, and I managed to push them out legally. Pushed them out because they were in a turn right, and they went straight on. And I was just waggling my finger at them, in a jokey kind of way, in my side mirror. So. From their perspective, all they can see is a guy smiling and flicking the bird, where I wasn't. I was just waggling my finger saying, don't try that again. And they phoned up the office and trying to get me the sack just for, swearing at them. And I went, yeah, okay, fine. Put them on the phone now. I'll have a word with them right now.
I'll swear at them now, yeah.
Yeah. And he didn't go any further than that. But there are times where I tend to have a stable word, and my stable word is cunty. That is one of the strongest words. It is the strongest word I know, and everyone is a cunty bastard.
You've made it all flowery.
Yeah.
Or cunty or cunting as well.
I mean, that sounds very Jane Austen. Mr. Darcy, you've been such a cunting bastard.
If something goes wrong in my house, then I'll go, this fucking cunting house. And that's about as strong. That's when I need, okay, I've hit that barrier. I've hit that glass ceiling. I need more. And sometimes when you're angry, that's when my mind really tunnels down and bottlenecks, and I can't get everything out as quickly as I really want it to. And so that's where I need more words, and I need stronger words. But then again, sometimes being quite witty with it can be stronger without using a stronger swear word.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it? You know, it's, my usual one for driving is you absolute twat. Because the thing is, you can actually mouth that at someone. They can see it in the rearview mirror. You try it. If you go absolute twat, then they can actually read it. And there's no misunderstanding. It's literally there is no two ways about it. It was like well, I don't know. I don't think I've told anyone this story, but basically we were driving home from I think it was Chesington or somewhere like that, or actually it was from picking Carol up from Heathrow. And she'd been away for 2 weeks.
We're in the last 10 minutes, by the way. I just want to let you know.
Well, basically, we were driving down the road. We're going down into London, and basically, the long and the short of it was we're driving into London, and it was quite warm, so I got the windows down, and then now you're going to think I'm lying, but a silver Mercedes with it top down, 2 women in it, and a guy driving, come past with their music going, oof, 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 oof. And I looked across, and it was Chico. You know Chico Time?
Yeah.
Yes.
And he drove past, and he's got this kind of music going, oof, 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 oof. And he kept looking.
Telling me playing the Chico song.
I don't know what he was playing, but he was.
I just like to think that he just plays the Chico song everywhere he goes.
Yeah. And he was sitting in this open top Merc, this 500 SEL thing, and he was kind of driving alongside us. We were going down the Edgware Road at this point. We'd come off the motorway. We're going on the Edgware Road into town. Marylebone Road. Sorry. And it's just, I just went, he looked at me and he's got his dark glasses on and he's got this kind of, hey, kind of look on his face. And I just went, you absolute twat.
But he didn't do anything.
Well, he didn't do anything.
You just called him a twat.
I just looked at him, I just called him a twat. But the thing was, even over the he could actually see me say, you absolute twat. Fucking Chico Time. What a cunt.
Okay, well, with twat, because it's not a real proper swear word, it's a kind of a side avenue of the word cunt, really, isn't it?
Yes.
Are there
it's more of a swear word than prat.
Yes, it is, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Noun, vulgar slang, a woman's genitals, a person regarded as stupid or obnoxious, or to...
Chico.
Yes, Chico. And then verb, British informal, to hit or punch someone. To twat someone. So there you go.
So, are there any other words that you'd like to bring back into your vocabulary, like with swearing as a weapon? Okay, not as a weapon, but as a way of either adding a bit of humour to stuff. Because I know Bellend has kind of taken off again, but I'd like Dick Splash to come back.
Bellend is the one, but Dick Splash is a great one, isn't it?
Yeah, it hasn't been used for a long time, has it?
I don't think I've ever used that.
You've never used Dick?
Never used it.
You're a Dick Splash. He's a Dick Splash. She's a Dick Splash.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any particular word that I'd like to get back to, because I think I just like to have a wide range of words.
Yeah.
What I think, Steve Bob's gone. Has anyone read Viz Roger Melly's Profanosaurus? I mean, go back to some old Black Dogs. We had Jim Moon's Profanosaurus, which was just as good.
Oh, are they old ones? That still feels
Roger
like
Melly
just yesterday.
Telly, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, the Jim Moon Profanosaurus, we haven't had that for about a year now. At least. So, there you go.
That was cooked up in the Pizza Hut in just before one of the shindigs, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah, we all just sat there and thought it would be great fun to get Jim with his sonorous tones and, knowledgeable voice and all this kind of thing to suddenly start saying things like Quim Hammer.
Right, I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
Quim Hammer.
But that's the thing. If you can turn around and just come up with stuff like that, what do you need? Don't need anything else. You want to take the stuff that you've already got and use it. You got an entire lexicon of words. You can just.
Well, so what makes a swear word then? Is it just the context and the manner that it's said?
Yeah.
Vulgarity. I don't even know the word.
Yeah, you were right the first time. Don't worry.
Okay.
No, it is. It's the vulgarity, but it's also the creative. So it's the vision it brings up in the mind. Like I say, I just came up with Quim Hammer or whatever the fuck I came up with. It's like when Jim came up a couple of weeks ago with Leopold von Cockwomble. It's Cocksprocket. Sorry, Leopold Cocksprocket. It's just like that's it's surprising.
Yeah.
But, Steve Bob saying we should do a Jim Moon's Profanosaurus compilation. Yeah, well, maybe I will one day. When I'll make that the $100 Patreon. Make it worth my while. But, I mean, like I said, when people sort of bolt together new words or when it becomes like the part of a tirade, that's when it's funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the funny bit. That's, when you can actually sort of jam it into a number of different, into an entire sentence, it's brilliant. I'm trying to find Jamie, the angriest man in Scotland. But anyway.
But when someone comes out with, let's say, fiddlesticks, in the right context, it can be quite amusing as well. Because that's not a word. That's almost a Victorian way of swearing, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think you need that vulgarity level, though, don't you? Really?
Mm.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't carry enough weight otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Fiddlesticks has got this kind of real. I don't know. It's
Balderdash, Fiddlesticks, and twerp.
Again, it's the Jane Austen thing, isn't it? It feels very prim.
Yeah.
It's like, really? In a world where we literally have the President of the United States saying shithole, Fiddlesticks is so far down on the list, it doesn't even register as a blip. Piffle. That's another one. Jack Woodgate just came up with. Piffle.
Exactly, yeah.
But, it goes back to those days of when, Edwardian and Victorian, people thought that, the height of pornography was seeing a lady's ankle.
Yeah.
So let's we've moved on from there.
Just slightly.
Yeah. So, just moved on a tiny, tiny bit. But, go on, sorry.
Oh, well, because we're getting close to the time now.
Mm.
Do you guys enjoy swearing?
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I love it. I'm
only in context, though. I wouldn't just sit there just reeling off swear words.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. Just sitting there and, sitting there and just going on about, like, sort of, fuck, Dick Willy bums, Yeah.
It's just that's the best part about playing video games, I think.
Yeah?
just sitting there swearing at stuff. God, for fuck's sake, why is this not doing that? But doing it in a sort of jovial way.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, with that, I mean, that's when you're listening to other people do it. It doesn't sound nearly as funny.
Oh no, I don't play online. It's just me swearing at the Xbox.
Yeah, exactly. But but things like, I like it when swearing's used in a real sort of clever context, or just saying it in a way that's really funny. I mean, it's like, we go back to, in the thick of it, and there's a guy called Jamie McDonald who's classed as the angriest man in Scotland. And there's one bit where he turns around and there's this guy sort of taking the mickey out of his music choice, about Al Jolson. And so he eventually turns around and he says, and I quote, "You take the piss out of Al Jolson again, and I will remove your iPod from its tiny nano sheath and push it up your cock. And then I'll get some speakers and shove them up your ass, and I'll put it on shuffle with my fucking fists. Then every time I hear something I don't like, which will be every time that something comes on, I will skip to the next track by crushing your balls." That is class A swearing, because not only is it swearing, it's using it to emphasize real anger. Yeah. Yeah, there's venom, there's anger, there's the weight behind that as well, isn't there? Yeah, and there's also that sort of whole creative thing of, it's just that whole thing of just turning around and going, that's just amazing because it's creative. And that's why I like something like that. Oh, no. Oh, no. Go on, just turn it down a bit. I've got one last thing to say. Just one last thing. Right, I've turned it off. Go on, I'll let you have this one. It's why I like things like In the Thick of It and Veep and Death of Stalin over things like South Park, where basically having cardboard cutout kids going, "Shut your fucking face, Uncle Fucker, Uncle Fucker, fucking. It's just like boring. That was funny first time round because it was such a surprise. Exactly. Ever since then, it's not. No, exactly. So South Park wore itself out in about 10 seconds flat for me with that sort of thing. And it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Not by comparison to something that, like I've mentioned before. So there you go. That's all I wanted to say, because everyone thinks South Park, the sun shines out of South Park's arse because they say fuck a lot on telly. And it's like,
I love South Park, but not for the swearing.
Yeah. But
I think they're both very clever in very different ways. Anyway, Amando Iannucci's just ridiculously clever. He writes The Thick of It and Death of Stalin and the other one.
Yeah.
Right, I'm pulling the handbrake up on this. That was the alarm, and we're supposed to stop on the alarm. So we're now stopping on the alarm. You can carry on talking about South Park. I've got no problems in that, but the swearing topic is now offline.
Well, Andy Plastides has just said on the chat that someone hasn't watched South Park in years. It's one of the most intelligent, subversive shows. And it's like, well, that's fine. And sure it is. And that's lovely. And I wouldn't disagree with it because, as he has rightly pointed out, I haven't watched it in years. But the reason I haven't watched it in years is because the early shows that I was watching, everyone was going, tee-hee. Look, Cartman's going, well, Cartman's bitch is the biggest bitch in the whole damn world, and the biggest bitch, and everyone was bitching and bitching there, and the boys and girls. And it's like,
yeah, you're right. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, but I'm talking about South Park now, not swearing.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you can carry on.
But South Park's very clever. I'd go back to it.
Well, maybe I will. But I've got other stuff to watch first.
Yeah, there's a million other things I want to watch before I want to watch South Park. So
yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so that was swearing.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys,
fuck it was. No, carry on.
It wasn't that bad.
No.
If you cast your mind back, I don't think it was just swearing for swearing's sake, which it could have been.
No.
So, well, I hope not anyway.
No.
Dear listener, let us know on the Facebook group that we have, which is facebook.com/groups/Shonky Lab, and you can join all the fun there we have, and you'll also find out about our next episodes that we put out. So, So are you guys, are we going to carry on and do song lyrics for the next episode? Are you guys hanging around for that?
Yeah, damn right.
Mr. Harvey?
No, I'm out. I can't talk about song lyrics. I've got no idea.
Really? Come on.
No idea.
Oh, dear.
Okay, fine. See you later. Thank you to everyone who's joined us in the chat room. That's been excellent. We have been scanning around on it and dropping you in whenever we can. If you do want to join us, please pop along to mixler.com/RogueTwoMedia. Nearly forgot it then. And if you pop along to the Facebook group, we'll let you know exactly when we are recording. We are going to go offline for maybe 10 minutes for a little wee break, little comfort break, and then we'll be back and we'll be dissecting some lyrics. So, Mr. Lee Harvey, have you got anything that you'd like to plug before you leave?
Not really. I usually plug the podcast that you guys do. So I'll let you do that.
Okay. Fine. Thank you very much. Mr. Lee Medcalf, have you got anything that you'd like to plug? Patreon?
Yes. Yeah. Patreon. Yeah.
Patreon, was that?
Yeah.
Didn't quite hear you properly.
Yeah, Patreon.
Shut up, you Quim Hammer.
Yeah. You clam-lapping scum trumpet. Right. Anyway. Okay, right. Well, ignoring that fuck nozzle. Hey, I'm gonna keep doing this thing. Basically, yes, you can find me and Elton and Jim and Darren when he's awake on the Black Dog Podcast, which you can find at blackdogpodcast.com. You can find us on iTunes, and you can find us on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/the Black Dog Podcast. And we have launched a Patreon to basically repair all the old alien kit and the 7-year-old PC that's running this shit and will probably die very, very soon. Oh, and I've got a 2-legged tripod as well, which is holding this microphone up, which I need paying for because it's fucking everything's falling apart.
And you need a replacement Darren as well.
Yes, well, yeah,
it's falling apart.
Yeah, I need to have him cloned. That's not cheap. That's not cheap. So, no, if you could go over to, if you feel like supporting the show, then, head on over to patreon.com/Black Dog Podcast. And, we got some cool rewards like bonus casts and sweary posters, which you won't find in a cinema lobby. That's for sure. But, there you go. Thank you.
Good stuff. And you can catch me on the Grand Prix podcast, which will be coming back in February and then March for the season 4. And myself and Andy will be coming back with a From the Earth to the Moon review, which is a 10-parter from HBO, I think it was.
Certainly is.
Yeah. So that will be coming out soon.
Don't know that at all.
Oh, do you not? No?
Never heard of it.
Oh, I remember watching it back in the day, and I'm slowly working my way through it now. Yeah. So it's well worth watching, trust me. Cool. Otherwise, we wouldn't be recording about it.
It's rubbish. Yeah. It's all fucking rubbish.
Rubbish. Don't know why I'm recording this shit.
Yeah. We're just gonna sit there and just entertain every moon landing conspiracy theorist ever for 12 episodes.
Yeah, so that'll be coming out soon. Just keep the eye on your normal Twitters and everyone else's Twitters. You know the drill. You know where to find all this information. I'm not going to treat you like kids. So until next time, we are going to be dissecting song lyrics. So that'll be the next one recorded. So, Please leave quietly. This is a residential area.